Hey, here's one. Bartender in a topless bar. Well, I think I could handle that. All it takes is a little maturity, and as we know, I am a mature man.
I'm gonna see boobies!
Let's rock.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I get a whooping?
No Man presents, live from the nudie bar, the Married with Children podcast. And here are your hosts, Dan, Jamie, and Al.
All right, man. It is always great coming to this nudie bar. I mean, look at these girls. Look how hot the bartender. Wait, it's a guy? What the hell? Why is there a guy with no... Ugh, whatever. Okay, my name is Al. I'm doing this podcast because this is my true calling. To get on here and shake it with Al Jr. and the Pips. Pimps. So stupid.
I'm Jamie. I'm not sure, but I think I might have just had one.
Oh!
Wow.
Damn. And I'm Dan Chase, and I'm gonna see boobies!
All right, man. This is Season 7, Episode 4. It's called Al on the Rocks. Original air date, October 4th, 1992. When Peggy panics over Seven's sneezes, she begins piling up medical bills, forcing Al to take on a second job as a topless bartender. Director Jerry Cohen, writer Andrew Smith. Special guest stars Diane Delano as Gladys, Sherlock Gans as Patron 1, Laurel Olstein as Woman. I really like Gladys, Diane Delano. She's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, she was cool.
Al Bundy's looking for a second job.
Bartender in a topless bar. Well, I think I could handle that.
And tonight,
When did the topless babe get here? It's not you, is it?
no, it's you. He's gonna find one.
Let's see it, baby.
Meet the man with all the right moves.
There's another kind of green in my underwear now, babe.
He's Al Bundy, exotic dancer.
That's the tush that set Chicago afire.
Married with Children, tonight at 9 on Fox 5.
What time is it?
3:30.
AM or BM?
BM.
You know, I don't know why they call it BM. I mean, why don't they call it PM for post-meridian?
I guess the joke is that she just sort of heard what everyone's been saying for all these years, and then we get this really strange twist of humor. Kelly, comes off as a genius for some random reason, and she's like, why don't they call it PM for post-meridian? Because that would make more sense. It's like, how would she even know what that is?
I didn't get either of those jokes.
She knows what it should have really been called because it would make more sense. The logic of it is why the world is actually calling it PM.
God, sometimes I feel like I am the last bastion of good sense on this forsaken outpost of humanity.
She's talking way too smart, and...
Well, and Kelly's had these moments before. I gotta be honest with you, because I was still I got a little PTSD from last week's episode still.
So you were worried here?
Yeah, with that opening. Like I said, I still don't get the PM BM thing. Like I just don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. So that, and then with what accompanied with what you just said,
right?
I was like, oh no, we are not off to a good start, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is yeah, we're back at every Bundy has a birthday all over again.
Oh man. But luckily for us, it doesn't continue that way.
No, thank God. But yeah, I was also pretty worried here. I didn't know where we were going with this.
Right.
These are your Kickstarter jokes?
This is like game 1 of the World Series, first up at bat, and somebody cranks a home run like off the first pitch. It's like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
I liked that joke.
Which one, BM or the how she knew everything?
Well, yeah, I just thought it was funny that she's, is it? Yeah, the fact it's just like, it should be PM for post meridian. I just think that's funny because you don't see that coming out of her mouth,
I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. I just don't get it. I don't understand what the joke is. I really don't.
PM, yeah.
PM post meridian, but why did she?
PM.
But why did she say BM?
Because she's stupid.
She just figures that's what everyone's been saying.
So she's been
mishearing
the whole time.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's funny.
It's not funny. I mean, no, sorry, Jay. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying.
Well, no, I think the post meridian part is funny.
Oh, right.
Okay. Hearing bowel movement is funny.
Right. I agree there totally.
Yeah, I agree with that part too. So Bud is looking different, right? He has this nice haircut. He has an earring, a hoop earring in each ear.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because they finally did a pretty nice close-up of him, but I was like, oh, okay, look, it looks like a...
pirate?
Yeah.
No, I noticed that as well, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird, right? The way they shot him, it was right. Like, different. And I remember in 1994, I had... Well, you know how it was gay to have an earring in your right ear? Like, that was to tell people you're gay, I guess?
Yeah, unless it's both.
Right. So, as a guy, you're supposed to have it in your left ear unless you're gay. So, when the 2 earring thing came, like, 1 on each ear happened, I got 2 on my left ear and 1 on my right ear. And they were all those tiny hoop things.
Why did you get 2 and then 1?
I guess that was a thing at the time. And then I remember when...
It was to be like, hey, listen.
When you had
I am not
tips,
gay.
you were afraid that people were going to think you were gay.
Yeah, I had to reinforce that left ear.
Yeah, that's what like 1 wasn't enough. Like, no, I have 2.
I was like, hey.
Just to make it clear.
So dumb.
And I would walk around with a beer and randomly punch people in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, man, I'm a tough guy. How about that Bears game?
You see this earring? There's 2 on this one.
Yeah. I know you're sitting on my right side and you must be thinking something, but I'm telling you, if I turned around. Oh, God. So then after she does this, it's a great killer joke where she says...
By the way, are my shoes on the right feet?
No.
Oh, so that's why they hurt.
And that's why they've been hurting, and she leaves them there.
Oh, it's great.
She doesn't even lean over and change them.
Where's Mom?
She's out with 7. He sneezed, Mom panicked, and she took him to the doctor.
Doctor? She never took us to the doctor.
Totally out of character of Peg. I mean,
Right.
Like we've said before, like... And even, it's weird because we could say it's out of character, but at the same time, it's not because she's still doing these things to her own kids of not caring.
Yeah. While she's cushioning this one.
Right. So is it out of character or is she just totally doing favoritism? And, she even makes the comment, those are daddy's kids and, and all that. So it's almost like... I don't know. She's just starting over, starting fresh, and wiping clean everything, and now she's taking an interest for some reason. Like it's almost like Seven's a plaything for her in a weird way.
Right.
Maybe she's that bored after all this time of just sitting home and doing nothing while the kids grew up already. Al's always at work, I don't know.
Well, if that's pretty much true to real life more than anything. I've known people that have done that. Like, okay, I want a baby, and then they just make a baby because it's a baby, and then when they grow up, they're sad because it's not a baby anymore, so they just do it again.
Yeah.
But right? Am I right though? Am I like?
Yeah,
I've seen this happen.
Well, it's
before.
just like in Raising Arizona, where she, she needs something to cuddle.
Right.
The other ones are getting too big to cuddle.
Yes. Nice reference. I like it.
So, what's killing me here is they brought this kid on the show, and they don't seem to ever really have anything for him to do. were there no plans when they decided to bring this kid on the show? Did nobody have any kind of direction that they were going, or were they just like, hey, we'll bring this kid on and then let's fly by the seat of our pants? Because it feels completely unplanned and last minute every episode.
Every episode.
Well, except for the last one, which we all saw where that went when they did go.
No, that still felt unplanned and last minute.
Oh, well, I see what you mean, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think they saw it that way, but...
Terrible.
Well, no, it was almost like the purpose of this episode was to get rid of him.
Well, it's just like the episode before when you had the date or whatever. It's like they find a reason to ditch him like he's friggin' Scully in the beginning of the episode. and then...
Look at Jamie dropping references.
I'm saying, man, I'm firing with these references today. But
You really are.
They ditch him in the beginning of the episode like he's Scully, and then you don't ever see him again. And I'm okay with that. But what I'm saying is, why bother bringing the kid on if you don't have anything for him to do?
Because they want to utilize him at their own will, just like they did Jefferson when he first came on. Like I said, and this one just happens to be they subbed these two in more, in Jefferson and Marcy. So now they have all these characters that they can kind of use. I just think it's odd timing, especially coming
after last year.
After last year, and then now he's playing such a, like you said, a minuscule role, and a role that doesn't, it's almost like, yeah, we got this kid, let's use him. What are we going to do? Let's ship him off to a bunch of specialists. Like, what? Excuse me?
Okay. I could clear this up a little. So first...
Please do.
First, we'll clear up the idea that maybe the first episode had such backlash that they instantly got the feedback. I can't imagine that, though. We would have to look at the taping date and then the air date of the first Magnificent Seven and then the taping date of the next episode and see if they could have possibly gotten feedback by the time they recorded the next one. I doubt that. And in the next one, they immediately ship him off upstairs with that girl in Alan Pegg's bedroom. The next one, they still go heavy on him with his birthday. So then you don't know what's happening. Was it backlash or not? But then you have this again. Now, here's the two things I was thinking, too. Like, is this kid only here because they wanted to proceed with the scrap storyline of Season 6? Like, is that what we're really doing here?
It can't be. It can't be.
Right. The reason why it can't be is because what were they going to do? Fast forward 5 years till when he, get rid of the infant years and then so he could start talking? Because otherwise, you could have just had those people dump off their baby like a football in a blanket. But what dynamic would that possibly add other than Al not getting sleep or something like that because the baby's crying? Like, you would have to think that they would have had to have fast forwarded. But then, how do you explain Bud and Kelly being exactly the same age? Are you going to say Bud's 24 years old now? No.
I got a question, though. Always looking from the outside, looking in, I always thought the issue with this kid is he randomly just shows up. Like, I didn't know where he came from. That's what I always thought it is. Do you think his legacy is more of why is he on the show? Like the thing that we're talking about right now? Like they didn't utilize him? Except for that one episode that you alluded to.
The birthday, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's the feedback. I have to go with that. You have to.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. That's got to be the number one question then.
So then why not write him off the So why not write him off the show right away if that's a problem then?
Exactly.
Why continue to shoehorn him in?
Contract? I don't know.
Just have them come, have the kids come pick it. Well, you can buy him out of his contract.
That kid,
they can afford it.
He worked for peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be making a lot of money. For one, he's a kid, so he doesn't have like any credits or anything. And two, he's a little bit character anyway. So yeah, they could buy him out of his contract, and they could have his parents come pick him up, and then be done with it. Instead of trying to find something for him to do every week.
Yeah, no, that's what it doesn't make any sense.
I really hope that Sweet is not listening to this show because I feel really bad if he is. I mean, the poor kid has spent his entire life being trashed as that 7 kid from Married with Children.
Maybe he could provide some insight as to what went on, and that would completely redeem it in my eyes.
He's got to be so bitter. He really has to be.
Right, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, there has to be something something, some kernel of information. And I think enough time has passed to where if it was some sort of internal conflict that involved information that didn't want to be divulged back then, I think it's safe to say that now
we could talk about it.
Yeah, like I'm dying to know.
Kennedy file.
Right, exactly. Like that's how I feel. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird because without getting too ahead of ourselves, there were so many good things in this episode,
and none of them involved him.
You didn't need him at all. Like, why would you do that? It just makes no sense.
Well, he did set up the B plot, so we have to give him that.
They could have done anything with that. Man, we're talking about Uncton. Well, we're Uncton. They could have literally made something up.
They could have had Peg be the one who was sick, and so she didn't want to get sick, so she didn't want the kids around them. Or they were sick. Or anything.
Or the dog Buck to reinforce "I love anybody but you," like the kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they could have done anything. They could have got a goldfish and have her care about that even more. Like it didn't matter.
I'm going to try to get somebody, either him or someone else, on this show, and we're going to dive into this. Like, I don't know.
Tell him not to listen to the show.
I remember I had a 109-degree temperature, and all she did was bleach my hair.
It's because her mom always told her, bleach a cold, raise a beaver.
Gee, I thought it was feed a pimple, raise a troll. Kush, 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 my little sweet.
There's this, like, kush thing going on. Jamie, didn't you mention that sort of last week?
Yes.
Kush thing?
So that's a thing then, I guess, right?
I guess it is now. I mean, as of last week and this week.
Right.
It's a kush, my little, which is stupid.
Yeah, as of now in 2019, kush means a little something different.
Yeah.
Look, honey, it's Al's children.
Hi, Mom. Everything go all right?
Oh, God, what an ordeal. I took 7 to a dozen specialists. They all agreed he just sneezed. You can't put a price on that kind of news. Of course, those doctors sure did. But I guess I just overreacted. I won't make that mistake again. Get out of my house.
All the while, during this whole exchange, Seven cannot stop laughing and breaking character. Like, is that in character? Like, is he supposed to be afraid of catching a sickness? Shouldn't he be like, no? But instead, he's laughing. Like, I'm a little lost on his motivation here.
He can't act. That's why.
Right? That's his motivation.
Get out of here before you infect this child.
Mom, it was just a feather on the end of my nose.
Well, that's what they said when the Black Plague started.
Which is not true, by the way.
Right?
No?
Started with witches.
The Black Coat's daughter.
It was fleas on rats is where the Black Plague came from.
You're smaller than the fleas on rats, than the amoebas on fleas on rats. Sorry, that's a reference nobody will get.
Wow, no.
Wow, Grease, you got it. Nice.
Really?
Yeah. Don't mess with me.
Wow, you guys both were on fire today. I better reference something soon.
Yeah, do you have any trivia, Dan?
No, I got nothing. I just read that there was a Weeds revival coming up, and I'm excited about that, but that's all I got. Let's continue with the show.
Scream 5 is coming.
I know.
And of course, the Black Plague or the bubonic plague, was one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, resulting in the death of an estimated 75 to 200 million people in Europe and Asia, peaking from 1347 to 1351.
Jesus, that's long.
No, I'll have none of that here. Just wait outside till it passes.
Gee, bud, sometimes life's a girl, huh?
And I want you out, too.
Why me?
You were talking to Bud. You might have been infected.
Mom, it's freezing out there.
Gee, then I better shut the door.
So now they are both out in front of the front door in the cold with no jackets on, just standing there. Not even go to your room and don't come out, nothing like that. Get out of this house.
Oh, hi, Buck. We're home. Now you can play with Seven.
Oh my God, I'd better sneeze.
Oh. I can just feel the mommy in me.
So you'll talk to Mom about letting us back in?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Daddy. I had a question, but Mommy said to ask you. Where do babies come from?
Well, generally speaking, a six-pack and two horny teenagers.
You remember how the way I was going to start judging Seven was, if you're going to do jokes with this kid, remember how my first initial one to kind of rip on was when he said, "Is that your real nose?" And he honked on Al's nose.
Yeah.
Went, huh? I was like, oh, gee, yeah, that's what we were missing from this show, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
So now it's like, well, what are you going to give us with it? What dynamic are you going to give us by having this kid here? So asking Al, where do babies come from? Like, that is exactly what you should be using Seven for, that type of humor, you know? Mm-hmm. It actually works. It sets up Al to come up with these types of jokes. Even, like, Al's response to Seven, it's pretty edgy to be saying to a 5-year-old, or a 6-year-old, I guess, at this point, whatever he is.
Right.
He said that to a kid.
He's only kidding. He really has no idea. Now go play with Daddy's pennies, but don't lose any. They're for our retirement.
Daddy, what's retirement?
It's what men do when they die and women do when they marry.
I mean, I still don't think he's necessary. You could make those jokes. I mean, Kelly could ask those jokes. I mean, ask those questions. There is no justifying his existence. You can try all you like, but it's not. And I don't mean you, but I mean you can try. Anyone out there can try to justify it. It's not going to happen. There's no reason to have him there. Like it's just a mood killer every time he shows up.
Yeah, don't worry. No, I don't think anyone on Earth has ever tried to justify his existence on the show. That's the one thing I can guarantee you, JB. No one has done that to this day on record, apparently.
Oh, honey. Feeling a little glum? Well, this'll cheer you up. You know how you're always saying that if I want money, I should get it myself? Well, today I needed money to pay Seven's doctor bills. Get ready to be proud of me. All by myself. I took cash that was sitting doing nothing out of that pretty red envelope.
You mean the one in the mailbox that was addressed to our mortgage company, Eviction Trust?
Well, I wouldn't know about that, honey. When I open envelopes not addressed to me, I just take the money, but I never read them. I feel that would be an invasion of privacy.
And yet you have no problem living in my bedroom. Peg, don't you see the envelope was a pretty red one because the bank is a little mad at us because we haven't paid them low these many months. But on the good side, we'll be moving to a roomier space now. It goes by the name Outside.
Are we ever going to be let back in the house?
No, kids, none of us are. For you see, Mommy spent all of our mortgage money.
Like, what was the rush? Most people blow off doctor bills for a long time.
Still do to this day.
I'm doing it right now, actually. You would think someone like Peg, we're the Bundys, we don't call cops, people call them on us. Like, since when did you go from being some badass to making sure that your bills are paid the day you show up at the doctor's office, you know?
Or that you care, right.
Well, if she went to specialists, they might just say no. Like, they might not see you if you don't have payment.
I don't know.
They're not required to.
What did Al do? Put cash in the envelope? How do you even break up a check?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right, what is happening here?
Well, you'll just have to do something.
All right, I will. No! I want my mommy!
He does this scream that, remember, Jamie, when Aaron Duncan was on our show, Aaron wondered if it would become like a thing of Al's on the show?
Yes.
Well, here we go.
I actually thought about that when I was watching this episode.
Yeah? And that was during Psychic Avengers, right? That's when Al, what was it? He couldn't afford his TV guide anymore?
I don't remember the circumstances. I was just thinking about Aaron.
And that long flowing hair. Never mind. That's all I can think about when I think about him. I have hair envy. So, so they sort of make that a thing of Al's, but it's more of a hybrid. He starts off with that scream, and then it kind of like moves into something else. So it's there though.
Like watching that, I don't know, it just seemed very strange. There's a couple things that Al does that are very strange in this episode.
Oh, boy.
That was the first one. Second one with Jefferson gets even worse.
I don't want no excuses. I want that $5 you owe me. I don't care. I'll see you in prison, Mom. Deadbeat.
Al's mother is mentioned yet again in season 7. In prior references, she is referred to as a chain smoker and an alcoholic. So she is a real winner, sounds like. She sent them a letter last week that Peggy threw away.
Oh, yeah.
She just kind of tossed it behind the couch. It was in a red envelope, which is what I thought of when she said that pretty little red envelope that you had the mortgage payment in, you know.
Right.
I was like, was it the same envelope?
Maybe.
Yeah, might have been.
He's been reading the same newspaper for 25 years.
Right.
So Al looks at the want ads. He's actually going to get another job.
Gotta get a second job. I gotta get something to pay for all this.
Have you guys ever done that? Gotten a second job and then have it just be better than drop your first one?
I have had so many jobs.
Yeah.
She has an extensive collection of name tags and hairnets.
Well, like last year,
Wow.
I had 3 jobs at once.
Right, you did. I still can't believe that.
And that really was only because I have a hard time saying no.
Oh, good.
Right.
Hey, Jamie, move your chair closer to me. You're not going to say no now, are you? Jesus. Am I that repulsive? What am I, Al, at the end of this episode? Wow.
All right, here we go.
Whew. Hey, Al. Came over to borrow some ice, but I just chip it off your kids.
Jefferson comes in swinging.
Oh, dude.
No, that's later.
Yeah, I don't know if I should give it away already, but
What?
this is my favorite Jefferson episode thus far.
Oh, dude, right?
I mean, he murdered this entire episode.
Everything.
Even though there's no T in murdered. It was unbelievable.
I noticed that.
He murdered it.
I was trying to emphasize it, but I ended up just saying it wrong.
I think Marcy was. I loved Marcy in this episode,
Yo.
and holy crap, she looks so good this season. I can't get over it. I really can't. Like, I think she just looks really good.
So that was the tipping point for me, right? Because I thought that, you know, everything with Al, Al and Peg was great. Then Jefferson came in, and I was dying laughing out loud at a couple of those. But then when Marcy came in and started doing her thing too, and they were all flowing, and her and Al started going back and forth, it hit me. I was like, oh wow, okay. They went right back to form for this, and this is why it works. You know, we talked about this to death on the last episode.
Could we talk about the juxtaposition between these two?
Oh, my God. It's night and day, dude. It's night and day.
Me and Jamie talked about it before we headed into the nudie bar. When we met in the street, we parked next to each other, and she said that it's like watching a different show.
It is. No, it totally is. Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And I don't know about you guys, but I like this show better.
Well, yeah. Shocker. Spoiler.
But
It was
even
better than last week's.
Right? Spoiler. No, I feel like every line though, like even if you relate it to the old stuff, it's still top notch.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The one ads. Husband's second worst fear.
Before we even get to the first one, which is something to talk about, that is so weird to even say. Like, think of his perspective, how warped this guy is. A husband's worst fear? Dude, most dudes work. Like, what are you talking about? This is not a thing. This is not a husband's worst fear. Most husbands...
Maybe he only hangs out with gigolos.
I guess, because it's like, he's talking as if the norm is what he's doing to Marcy. Like, dude, no. It's what everything Al says in his life about is just like dying when you retire. Women, like that's the norm. And now women don't even retire when they marry anymore. They work harder than ever. My wife has 3 jobs.
Right.
So his reality is so warped. You have to love it.
The one ads. Husband's second worst fear. The first, of course, is hearing, "Oh, God, what am I supposed to do with that? It scares me." Bet you get over that fear after 1,000 women have said
it. Yeah, I can really relate to that. I've heard that so many times. God, they've run in fear.
What they're doing here, though, is just creating this myth around Jefferson. And everything that goes on in this episode is just like he's the biggest pimp ever.
And I love every second.
It's hilarious. Like, okay, here's the thing. Everybody knows I'm a Jefferson fan, but it's this kind of stuff as to, like, why I feel that way, because it's just so ridiculous. It's great, and he never wavers throughout the whole thing, except when briefly when she calls him out on not having a job, period. But then he turns that around. He kills.
As Jefferson, like... You're not as obsessed as Jerry was with Steve, but as Jefferson being your guy on the show, would you say that this is like a top 5 Jefferson episode?
Hands down. So from what I've seen so far, this is probably number 1.
Right.
I mean, from what I've seen so far. So we'll see when we get to the end, but absolutely.
But I will say, though, because we do sort of, not try to, but we just do point out continuity errors, especially if they come to mind. Season 7, Episode 1, The Magnificent Seven. Did we not just go over a joke where Marcy said, "We can't see everything on you"? And he says, "I thought that wasn't important to you." So first we go from he has microphallus 2-3 episodes ago, and suddenly it's so big that it scares women, and they don't even know what to do with it. Like, make up your minds. And I didn't even like that crap in that episode. And I remember I was against it in a weird way, actually, defensively. So this is actually great. Not that I'm thrilled that he has such a big schlong that women run up the hills to get away from him, but like it's just a better mystique. It's funnier, and I don't even take this part seriously. It works. Now, he claims to have slept with 1,000 women. Now, at 34 years old, let's just be modest, 16 years old, he probably started having sex. He met Marcy 2 years ago. So from 16 to 32, Jefferson averaged 62 and a half women a year. He had more than one girl a week for 16 straight years.
I mean, if you count, like, say, Friday and Saturday night.
Jamie.
That's not hard to do. Like, one girl every day and then...
Double down on the weekends?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could see it with him at least,
I just feel like somebody'd have to take... Like, he'd have to take holidays or something. I don't know.
He'd have to take a STD test.
Someone should open a penicillin concession in his home.
Right. Exactly. I wonder if he sold... those same properties down by the lake, and he used to take the ladies there.
Oh, yeah, it's like Chickamauga.
The same ones that he sold them to, yeah.
Now, he was fascinated by Wilt Chamberlain, don't forget.
You can do it, Al. Wilt Chamberlain claims to have made love to over 20,000 women.
Yeah, and not one of them was his wife.
So, he was into this whole thing, so that might have been his hero, and that's why he did this.
Makes sense to me.
I could put it all together, man. You just give me a couple minutes. You can see what I could do. I could work magic with this stuff.
Listen, Jefferson, let me ask you something. How does Marcy let you get away with not working?
Well, I'll tell you, whenever the subject comes up, I just give her a ride on the old Jefferson airplane.
Now, I didn't get this at all as it was being said, but...
You don't know Jefferson Airplane?
No.
Is that
really?
They're a pretty big psychedelic group from the 60s. Okay, I'll tell you what. You'll dig this song. When we get off the air, look up the song White Rabbit.
Okay.
It's pretty badass. It's
You know it. You know it. Yep.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I guess.
So you do know Jefferson Airplane.
Oh, nobody ever said who played that song. They just played it and went to the next one.
Thank you, Jamie. Oh, and see, that was my reference. Does that count?
What? Oh, sure.
Because I know the song.
That's almost as witty as what we've been doing.
Chalk it up.
Did somebody just sneeze? I want you out of this nudie bar. I just heard a sneeze.
that was Brian.
Oh, that was Brian? Oops, sorry.
I was trying to mute my mic, only I didn't make it in time.
No, my dog sneezed too, so...
frantically waving.
Tell him to sit outside. It's cold enough. Bleach his hair.
Oh, wait, Jefferson Airplane later on would eventually be Jefferson Starship.
Oh, yes, that's right. They went from an airplane to a starship.
I wonder what was better.
They went to space like Jason X.
Help us? I can't. I'm a Republican.
Hey, here's my little frequent flyer now.
So, the best part is when Marcy walks in, though, you know, sure, political jokes, whatever. I'm not a fan of them anyway. So, it's so funny when he goes, here's my little frequent flyer now. Like, how great is that you, like, guys say all these, like, dirty, raunchy things, and then when the girl walks in, you refer to her in the same context that you were just talking about. Like, that's so, like, you imagine saying, how your wife, you know, or like she does some weird positions, and then all of a sudden she walks in the door, like, all prim and proper and sweet, and you're like, oh, here's my little gymnast now. Just think of how...
Here's my little acrobat.
Yeah, here's my little acrobat. Yeah. Think of how demeaning that is. Like, that he said, here's my little frequent flyer now. Like, oh my God.
Well, and I feel like she had to have gotten that joke because later on she makes a reference to, what does she say, getting on board?
Yeah,
or
something like that, yeah.
Something like, she makes it, basically it's a reference to the same thing. So surely she got what he was saying.
But no, she just doesn't say anything, so...
Jefferson, where have you been? You know what a difficult day I was going to have, and all I asked was for you to fix me a bath and some supper and serve it to me in your bicycle shorts. But you did absolutely nothing.
Which I found was weird, to say supper and not dinner. She seems like somebody who would say dinner.
I think it's sometimes a regional thing.
Yeah.
It was weird. When I was growing up, it was always supper.
Me too.
But then I would watch TV, and on TV, people said dinner. Yeah. So I started saying dinner because I thought it sounded better. I don't know. It's weird. And now I've tried to go back to supper, and I can't make myself do it.
That's funny.
Nothing? Do you think that my skin is naturally this smooth? It takes work, baby.
So, now, he says baby 3 times, by the way, in this episode, right. And it's all great, though. So, Al starts stroking his forearm as Jefferson's doing his own forearm to show Marcy, and Al becomes completely, like, fascinated by the smoothness, and he even says, you know, can you tell Peg what to do, blah, blah.
Hey, now that is pretty smooth. Hey, you want to tell Peg what you're using here? Oh, this is intoxicating.
Oh, thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Oh, please. Now listen, Missy. I am through paying for your fanny buffs. Would you mind getting your hands off my husband?
Get your hands off my husband, and she slaps Al in, like, the head, neck, ear area.
I thought that was...
Yeah, and they haven't been getting along in real life since season 4. So she probably enjoyed this as much as he enjoys probably ripping her on the show.
Right.
So just think, 2 people who don't get along, they have to, like, interact this way. It's crazy.
Right.
So Marcy says, it's time you get a job. And Jefferson slaps Al on the leg and gets up and walks over. And he slaps Al on the leg as if to say, hey, watch this. You know, like he's going to show him what he was talking about earlier, you know?
And you! It's time you got your little apple button gear and got a job.
Well, why don't we talk about this at home, Marcy? Hearken, I think I hear your flight boarding right now. We'll have you strapped in a minute, baby.
Oh, well, all right.
He says, we'll have you strapped in a minute, baby. It was so funny how he says baby. It's kind of like the way Al says it in the older episodes, you know?
Right.
Because he's done that. And then Marcy is totally enamored with this whole thing. She's like, all right, but we're going to talk about this job thing. And he goes, yeah. Marcy, feel this. And then he turns around, hikes up his pants, and flexes his ass right into Marcy. And then she, for being a lesbian, man, she knows how to, like, sell that she is heterosexual for the show. All her body language was telling me she is totally into this.
Right.
Well, can you act like you're straight?
I've been trying for years, so you don't know I'm gay.
My question is, what I mean is, can you act at all? Like, if you can act, then you can act.
Right. So if you can't act gay, but you can't act at all, what does it matter? Like,
yeah, you've seen the ghost of Michael Myers. Why are you asking me this?
So what she said, what?
You know I can't act. We're going to dummy it up for the show?
That's his brother. I mean, my cousin.
That's who he is.
Guess what just heard on the news? Remember Michael Myers? Is he the guy that tried to kill your sister? And my cousin. And my stepbrother. That's who he is. It was all over the news. He escaped from Smithsville last night.
The people that were sitting at the table with you looking like they were trying to figure out what was going on and the script in their head right then and there.
And my brother and my sister-in-law. That's who he is, I think. I forgot. I forgot what we wrote down.
Your buddy's like, wait, is this Freddy? I forget which one
Can't
it
shoot
is.
this again because that would just make too much sense.
The other kid's thinking, why did he use my red bucket? He broke it.
So Marcy says, what was I saying? And then Jefferson just like shrugs like, I don't know.
What was I saying? Oh, well, it couldn't have been that important. Listen, I'm going to go home and get ready for takeoff.
Get a wax, baby. You never look back.
Get a wax, baby. You'll never look back. And it's like, what?
That one threw me off. Like, it was so dumb, and I've never heard that as like a saying. That's like not a thing.
Once you go wax, you never go back. I don't know.
Like it was just weird, but like it was just so stupid that I still smiled at it.
Right.
I didn't laugh at that, but I was like, all right, okay, this type of off the rails I can deal with completely. You know, like quotes that don't necessarily like flow, whatever, but it's still hilarious because it's coming from Jefferson, who's obviously like really, you know, there with his character right now. So it just fits in perfectly. So those you can always dial back. You know what I mean? We're not talking about like, you know, never see the light again and
right.
You know.
Yeah, that was definitely the worst of all his lines in this episode. It did not have to be there. They could have stricken that line. He could have just winked at Al or nudged and laughed and left, and that would have been fine.
Right.
I don't understand the get a wax, baby. Like, what?
Right, exactly.
All right, let's see here. No education, no experience, and no drive necessary. Now, what kind of stupid job could that... Oh, yeah, shoe salesman. Hey, here's one. Bartender in a topless bar. Well, I think I could handle that. All it takes is a little maturity, and as we know, I am a mature man. I'm gonna see boobies.
And he's excited to go there and apply. And he goes back to his classic honk honk hand motions, like in the rites of passage. But he doesn't say honk honk this time. So Al goes in there, and this blonde lady, Gladys, who I love her because she's like a classic 90s TV show character, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Diane Delano. And I guess she's like supposed to be like a butch lesbian type, I guess, but it's weird because it's guys dancing in the place, but she comes off like she's gay, right?
Yeah, I don't understand the dynamic of this bar, except that I think it's obvious that the idea is that these women are acting like men, in that they're treating these men the way men treat women.
Right.
Right.
But it's weird to me that they're being mannish while they're doing it. To me, that just seems bizarre. But they're all, but it's like it's not just that they are objectifying them, but they're actually taking on the mannerisms that men use, like when he comes around the bar with the bottles and she's like,
right.
Oh, he's shy. She's
right.
Let us see it, baby, or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Like, it's weird.
Yo, you mean the bottles that were glued to the top of this tray?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Well, I understand the setup, though. You know what I mean? Because if it was guys, it would come off, I think, like too gay, maybe? No?
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. No, it definitely would. But I just think, why not have the women
act like women?
Right.
Like they're acting like men. Like they're role reversing, and they're going a little too hard with it.
I mean, you could still act like a woman and objectify a man.
Right.
I do it every day.
Well, you want to know what's funny? This Gladys, she seems like a guy and all this other stuff. It's weird how she comes off, and she was in a TV show in 2019 called Penis, but it's PEN15.
10:15. My goodness.
No, I know.
That is a great show.
No, but I mean,
you know what that is?
10:15.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's hilarious.
No, I'm totally kidding. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm serious. It's PEN15 then. Well, she's famous for The Wicker Man, Jeepers Creepers 2, The Lady Killers, and Popular.
Yeah, she was one of the chicks that got punched in The Wicker Man.
No. Wait, was she the one? Oh, wait, no. She was in Jeepers Creepers 2.
3 women in that movie, huh?
Yeah, she was the bus driver in Jeepers Creepers 2.
Oh, wow.
Remember?
Yeah.
You the boss?
Yeah. What can I do for you, sweet cheeks?
Well, for one thing, you can look at my face when you're talking to me.
She was like, her eyes were fixated on his crotch. He was offended by this.
And for another, I'm here for the bartending job.
You'll do. You'll do just fine.
Hot doggy! When do all the topless babes get here? Oh my God, it's not you, is it?
He is such, I swear to God, he is so obnoxious. It's so funny. And then she's like, no, baby, it's you.
Hey, bartender, let's hurry up with those drinks.
So then Al comes out of the back of the bar with these black pants, a bow tie. He's all hunched over and shy to show his body. He's like awkwardly walking around with this tray with like 10 beers glued to it. And then I guess they have loose beers in the middle holding it all, so it looks real because he's like taking those out and giving them to people. Then he basically just says, screw it, they seem to like him.
Baby, honk honk.
Well, if you've got it, Trot it.
And he just says, well, if you got it, flaunt it. And he does this funny hair whipping back thing. And then all of a sudden, Jamie's favorite part kicks in. Because he starts doing this dad dance. While we get this whole montage while he's pouring drinks like a boss, dude.
Like cocktail. It was like
that's what it was, right.
Also, if you didn't notice, Al did the bunny dip when he ran around the bar and he delivered beer to the table.
Yeah.
He did the bunny dip, which, if for anybody out there who doesn't know, is what Playboy bunnies did. I actually did it when I waited tables. I did. And
I love how she was like reading the facts off of a sheet of paper. Like, I actually did this in high school.
Yeah. No, I was not reading facts. I was actually that's a thing that happened, and I caught it when he did it. I was like, oh, that was a nice little touch because he's wearing like it was. I guess it's for like a Chippendales thing, like with the bow tie, but it's reminiscent of a Playboy bunny. So I thought that was cute, and it was a nice little nod that they threw that in there. And obviously, not everybody's going to get that, but he loves Playboy. Mm-hmm. Like Al is a big Playboy fan.
Oh yeah.
So other people who love Playboy who watch that show would get it.
Right. Yeah.
I got it.
The song they were playing was Tough Enough by the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and that was what they were playing during this whole reminiscent of the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise from 1988. That scene comes from that. I've never seen it, but I wonder if they played the same song in that movie. Did they or no? There's no way, right?
No. I don't remember that song ever being played in that movie, and I've watched it a lot.
Oh, okay.
Why have you watched it a lot, Jamie?
Because I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
And that song was played 2 other times in Mr. Empty Pants, Season 7, Episode 16, and Till Death Do Us Part, Season 7, Episode 22.
Woo! Yeah, I love Mr. Empty Pants. Oh, Al has empty pants at the end of this episode.
Oh, shoot. Totally forgot to mention that Steve and Marcy, even though she says she's a Republican, they had named their dog after a Democrat.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
What was their dog's name?
Bella. And they named it after Bella Absug. Absuck or something. Not Bella Lugosi. Bud and Kelly are sick. They have blankets on them. Kelly has a turkey thermometer in her mouth. Kelly passes out from the fever. So Peg said she will bleach her hair later.
I thought that was nice. That was funny because Kelly made the reference that she, did that when she was little, but not that she had done it recently. And so now that's still a thing, I guess, which I think that's funny.
Yeah. Well, Al walks in. He's wearing a black overcoat, leather pants, leather vest, nothing else. He takes Peg and he dips her and kisses her.
How's it feel, Peg? To get for free what every other woman in Chicago has to pay for. Go ahead, touch it, Peg. Touch the tush that set Chicago afire.
Well, if you don't mind. And now on to you, honey. Tell me, is that money in your pants, or are you, well, let's face it could only be money.
Yep. There's another kind of green in my underwear now, Peg.
Oh, that was funny.
That is disgusting, man. Then Al says his crotch is good for one more thing. He could shake it and change falls out of it as well.
It makes change.
Yep.
Peg, yeah, I feel good. Yeah, I do. I quit my shoe job, Peg. No time for it, really. Don't regret the shoe business, though. 'Twas a pleasant little interlude till I found my true calling, Shakin' Al Jr. and the pimps.
Reminisces about the shoe store and calls it a pleasant interlude. So that's weird that he would think that. Isn't he the guy who sits down in that chair with his head in his hands for 8 hours?
Right.
Yeah, but have you ever had a job that like you hated it so much, but then once you left, you were like, well, it wasn't so bad?
Yeah, you're right. I did. Yeah.
Don't regret the shoe business, though. 'Twas a pleasant little interlude till I found my true calling. Shakin' Al Jr. and the Pips.
And of course, that's referencing Gladys Knight and the Pips.
You know, Al, I'm not sure, but I think I might have just had one. Hey, Mary? Doris? Beth? Al? These are other women's phone numbers. I don't know if I like this.
Do I see the red-headed monster of jealousy?
Well, I don't know. Should I be jealous?
Well, yes. I mean, look what they're all seeing, Peg. Same thing God saw in his imagination when he said, let there be man.
Al gets women's phone numbers at this place. Do you think that's going over the line? Is it okay that they did that? Because they could have just stuffed it down his pants while they were...
Right. No, that's fine. Like, he's working.
Right.
That's the whole premise behind him dressing the way he is and all of that, you know?
Right.
If he does something with them, that's a whole other thing.
Right.
But Peg, as ugly as these women are, I still come home to you.
I don't know, honey. I love this money, and I know those women are ugly. But, you know, the truth is I'm not a very good wife. I don't do anything for you. I mean, what if these other women finally started paying attention to you? It's a long shot, but I can't take that chance. I want you to quit.
Oh, Peg, it's hard to tell these to quit.
Would you guys let your significant other, like, be a stripper? Or, like, what if Brian was a Chippendales, Jamie?
You know what? I trust him, so he can do whatever he wants.
No, it's not about that. No matter what, when he does his job, it depends what you care about. Because for Dan, if your girl was doing this, she's gonna climb on top of guys topless, and they're gonna grab her ass and grind into her between her legs, and graze her breasts any chance they get. And if they go into the back room for $200 for 10 minutes, then they get to completely feel her up, put their hands all over her body, except for on the G-string, and still on the ass.
Wait, that's the off-limits spot?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the off-limits.
I wouldn't care as long as he was making good money. I don't care.
Shake that money maker, Brian.
I mean, other people can touch him. They just can't, have him.
But if you're asking me, Alex, absolutely not.
Okay, that's what
like it's not a chance.
I think Brian would be okay with it if I wanted to do something. Would be okay if I would be a stripper? Oh, shh.
What he said? No.
Did you hear him? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. See, Brian knows what's up. He knows.
I'd let you be a stripper.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for caring, he's saying. She would sell him out, boy. Jamie the pimp.
No, but as guys, it's just a complete no all the way around. Like, it's not even a debate.
If she was just dancing on the pole like this girl over here in front of us, if she was just doing that, then yes. But once we get to the point where the guys are completely having 100% physical contact, no.
I wouldn't even been able to get to that first step, but yeah.
Is it about, okay, here's the question. Is it about, do you consider those other guys a threat?
No.
Or do you think do you not like them handling your property?
Right.
Or
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly it. That's right. That's exactly it.
It's like, don't touch it. It's mine.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be wooed by them or anything. I just don't want that happening.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. You're literally letting guys do that just for the only difference is they're paying $20 to do it. Like, you're feeling up a bunch of girls and it's like doing it in the street or something or at a club. The only difference is you're handing them $20 but you're still doing these same things. What's the difference?
Also, I'll say this too. I've known a decent amount of guys that they get these weird fixations with strippers and stuff like that, and they're definitely one-sided, and those feelings are not reciprocated whatsoever,
Right.
and you can completely tell. So for them to I think some guys have this weird connection where they think, oh yeah, they can just do whatever, and they completely cross barriers and stuff. So absolutely not. Yeah.
Yep. So it's hard to tell these to quit, Al says as he flexes his arms. Then Marcy walks in, laughs, says she has a Village People flashback.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. I just had a Village People flashback.
People pay to see me like this.
Oh, okay. So will I. Here's $1. Sing YMCA.
Now, this is a prelude to Season 8, Episode 7, Take My Wife, Please.
Big Halloween episode. We're going to like that one.
Yes.
Yep. Jerry Herring, that's the episode he reviewed on his Halloween special, and that's sort of what was nestled in the back of my head when creating this show.
I think he would have done it
nice.
on his Christmas special.
Oh, right. He did Halloween shows on his Christmas special. That's right. Yep.
No, wait. Here's $2. Put a shirt on. I can't stand to see you topless.
Well, at least people know when I'm topless.
And then Al says, the best comeback ever. At least people know when I'm topless.
Burst out laughing.
I referenced this earlier. It is my favorite exchange of the entire episode. I just think it's brilliant. The whole thing, back and forth, is so funny.
My back has bigger breasts than you.
No. Your front has bigger breasts than me.
Guys never like to hear they have man boobs, so.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that, so that's a good insult.
Sadly, though, he kind of does, because his first night in the bar, when he was not wearing the vest, you could tell.
Yeah, he does.
You leave my Alzy alone. He has to dress like this for his second job.
Second job? Jefferson, don't you think it's time you got a first job?
Okay, Marcy, come on, let's go do the O Jefferson.
Well, fine. Oh, Jefferson, get a job. You may be cuter than I am, but it's time you started pulling your own weight around here. I mean, if I wanted peanuts, I'd fly Delta.
Look, Al, you gotta help me.
Well, all right. When you're with Marcy, shut your eyes real tight and picture one of the Golden Girls. That ought to be a step up from reality.
There were two decent looking Golden Girls, right? Or just one? One's super old. One's like a tall, manly type chick. The other's like an old lady, and then there's Blanche, right?
Yeah, the other one was Betty White. I always thought she was very pretty.
Oh, okay. Well, let's still skip her. So, like, Dan, do you think... would you rather have Blanche or Marcy on top of you?
This whole discussion is disgusting. But we have said before, though, that Sophia is actually younger than them in real life.
Yeah, that's right.
Correct,
She
Jimmy?
just was wearing a whole bunch of makeup.
Right. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So I'll say Sophia. How about that?
Yeah, how about you don't say that?
He wants to see what she keeps in that purse.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Down at, what's the place that she always references? Down in,
Sicily.
Sicily, yes.
Well, I would rather have Marcy than any of the four of them. So...
Well, I think that's, yeah.
I can't agree with Al there, even though I think he's just taking a jab here. I don't know. Even he would agree with me, I think.
Jefferson's like, oh, okay, thanks, Al. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But what I meant was...
Yeah.
Thanks, Al, I'll do that. But I'm talking about this work thing. I mean, I'd die. I'd just die if I had to give up my prime 2 p.m. manicure appointment. If I miss even one, I just know some damn woman's gonna scarf it up.
Oh, so you're the bitch with 2 o'clock. I've been wondering who that blonde was Eduardo is so in love with.
C'est moi.
That was great, but I actually like the line that Al has next with Bud. That exchange.
Dad, do you think now that you've discussed Mom and our stupid neighbor's problems, do you think you could pull $1 out of your G-string so we could have some aspirin?
Son, are you here?
That to me was hilarious because it was such a B plot going on with them at this point, you know? It literally had nothing to do.
Do you think he's speaking to the show itself?
Without a doubt. Dude, hands down, and I laughed out loud. He was like, are you even here? He's like, what are you even doing here? Because you can totally tell, in the writer's room, that killed.
Are you claiming this was a meta moment?
I laughed out loud, and I felt like I got it. So if the intention was something else, but that's how I took it.
That made it better.
Oh, hands down. I laughed so hard. I thought that was one of the greatest lines because of that. He just looks at him and he's just like, are you still here?
They have such greatness going on, and it's almost like, oh, wait, do we still have to address this weird B plot?
Exactly. That's what it was. This plot's still here?
Right.
Anyways, back to, just his mannerisms, too. It was so perfect. I died at that line.
Right. Yeah, you made it way better. Okay. Now I like that line 100 times more.
Loved it, man.
Jefferson? I might be able to find you something, and at night.
Yeah?
Peg, you got to feel this.
Well, of course it's soft, Al. He's Eduardo's pet.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you that it's enchanting.
Gee, Al, you sure know how to make a man feel good.
Well, it's easy when I'm around you.
Obviously, we know what they're teetering on here, but at the same time, it's like a bromance thing going on, but you have to love it. This is what we've been waiting for. You want this closeness between these two, although it's obviously getting into a weird zone.
Yeah.
It is funny because then they immediately do the, how about those Bears? Hell of a game. They can go all the way this year.
Hey, the Bears are playing tonight.
Yeah, football, what a game, huh?
And that is a direct reference to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which I'm oddly enough watching tonight. And for those of you who don't know that movie, that's my favorite comedy of all time. It stars John Candy and Steve Martin. And the premise to this scene is they have to share a bed in a motel, and when they wake up, they're intertwined. The one dude kisses the other guy's ear. The other guy has his hand between his ass cheeks or something like that by accident because, they fell asleep and they, I guess, thought they were sleeping with their wives in the delirious states of the middle of the night and stuff. So then they wake up and they try to be manly men again who are not gay or whatever. So they start talking about, the Bears and football. And that's always cool because the Bears are my favorite football team. So in both these instances, they talk about them. So here's that clip.
See that Bears game last week? Yeah, hell of a game. Bears got a great team this year. They're gonna go all the way. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I have to watch this movie tonight.
Why so early?
I normally wait till Thanksgiving week, but dude,
I know you do. That's why I said that.
Because in October, I held off so many movies that I watched in October till it was closer to Halloween, and guess what?
And you didn't get a chance because of the storm.
Right.
That's horrible. I'm sorry.
I did not even get to watch them. So I'm almost in this weird fear of doing it again. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch The Goonies. I'm going to watch the original Clash of the Titans way sooner. I didn't even watch Charlie Brown or Garfield's Halloween last month.
No!
Could you believe that?
Oh,
well,
man.
it's a good thing that you got Point Break-In.
So stupid.
Nice.
Yeah, thank God.
I didn't watch Charlie Brown or
Garfield?
Or Garfield. I never watched Garfield, but
Ooh, big mistake.
I didn't watch Charlie Brown either, and that is weird to me, and it makes me sad.
I got a rock.
I got a rock. Jamie, you have to watch Garfield. That is the greatest Halloween.
I mean, I've seen it. I'm just not a big Garfield fan.
Ooh, you're a Kelly fan, and you say that? Okay, everybody heard that. She claims to be a #1 Kelly fan.
He's a lazy cat and he eats lasagna. There's nothing else to it.
Oh,
That's
yes.
all there is.
No, there's plenty. You got to dive in, baby. You got to dive in, baby.
I used to read the comic every Sunday morning because I would read them all, even the crap ones like Nancy. I read all of them, and I just don't think it's funny.
No, it's not funny. You have to watch the cartoon, and you have to watch the Christmas and Halloween special.
Right.
And skip the Thanksgiving special. That is garbage. But the other two are really good. It is so bad. So after they try to be all manly and stuff, after like recovering from that weird moment, you could see Jefferson trying to sit on the couch without crossing his legs. Because I guess that's a women thing. It's weird because whenever really sophisticated rich men are interviewed or whatever, they cross their legs really intensely. Like, they cross them like they have no penis. Like, I always cross them with the one leg goes out, then the foot and ankle go over the other knee. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that manly leg cross.
Right. And other people cross it like a chick.
I've seen it happen.
But they do it to show sophistication.
Yeah, no, you got to cross it higher, though, because you got to be able to reach your toenails to paint them.
So stupid.
It's either that or, you could be manspreading, I guess.
He's going to manscape.
Anyway, you stick with me tonight, and you'll see the Dalai Lama of Guy do his thing.
Jefferson is now bartending with no shirt. Now, guys, did you pay attention when he threw that bottle right away? Did he not almost lose that into someone's face and barely catch it?
It seemed like it, yeah.
I mean, wow, was that a delayed catch?
I was distracted by the fact that he wasn't wearing a belt with those god-awful 90s jeans. I just, bleh.
One of the people on our Married Children research team, Annabelle Whitford, said that her favorite part of that, she said, Jefferson looks so hot with no shirt on. It must be just a charisma kind of thing because he's not muscular, really. So, I guess you don't always have to be muscular to be hot to a chick,
No.
Jamie's like, no, but it helps.
No, I mean, if you're going to be running around with your shirt off, it helps. But,
right.
No, I'm usually more about a guy's charisma or whatever. And sense of humor is big. And even though guys like to think that it's not, it really is.
No, it is.
It does mean a lot.
It works so well.
Well, see, you're married, so you know it does.
Yeah, she's laughing all the way to the bank. So, now, Jefferson's dancing, and he doesn't do dad dancing, thank God, but he does, it's still sort of corny, but it's all right.
It's very cool.
It's cool, though, like, in a weird way. Like, but what's great about it, because it's 90s TV cool, And he has these face expressions. Like, everything about what he's giving off is just amazing to me. I love everything he does in this episode, except for that one weird line.
That one line, right? Yeah, it was great from beginning to end.
Oh, hey, remember, ladies, I do weddings and bar mitzvahs.
So all the women completely ignore Al. And by the way, people think Al was hot before, so yeah, I guess you don't have to have muscles or anything. It's all about what you exude.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Right.
That just makes me sad. I don't like this.
When Al is told, yeah, that is so sad, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you give this to the cute one?
Well, if you were a woman, I'd...
And then what does he say back? It was one of the greatest lines.
Yeah, if you were a woman, I'd... so he would hit a woman, but not her.
Oh my God, this episode just keeps hitting it right on the head.
So all the... so one of the women even take out their lipstick and write "go home" on his chest.
Right.
Now, there's just mean. There's no reason to be mean.
Right.
And he leaves it there. He just walks in with it.
Did you get any more phone numbers, Mr. Casanova Bundy?
Well, Peg, I was thinking about what you were saying, about being jealous and all, and so for you, I gave up my topless career and wrote "go home" on my chest.
Well, I actually like that too, though, when he addresses it.
Right, I did too.
Because, like, again, going with the whole theme that we've been talking about a lot lately, where it just kind of it grounds it and he's acknowledging
right.
thing. You know what I mean? Like it felt very natural and you know how we were talking about last time, like when something's off. And in this case, you just know when something's right, and that's just right. Everything worked perfectly, right? And it was hilarious because of it. Like, it just shows you, like, you don't have to go so far left to try and create jokes and create them in this weird place. Like by doing what they're doing now, they can still create new stuff in the same vein, in the like what we all love about it.
And notice how we didn't mention once if it's realistic to put your kids outside and have them stand there. We didn't mention if it's realistic that nobody worked or Al just walks in, then he's there, then they all love him. Like, all these women love Al. That's not real. Right. But we didn't bring any of this up.
Not exactly.
You know why? Because it was done so well, it doesn't call for that type of questioning.
Right.
It just doesn't come up when it's good. Just like when they ate the permit at that part last episode. So if it's good, that stuff doesn't come up. It's when it's so stupid that it just, all you could do is think of the absurdity.
And a lot of the times they're exaggerations, of how family does treat each other. And we've been talking about this forever. And it's just such a ridiculous, over-the-top way of going about it. Right. But there's still some through line there. Right. There's something that grounds it. Mm-hmm. And that's why this is completely different than the other stuff that we've been seeing. But I do like identifying and differentiating the two, because they are different, and I wanna put focus on the things that do work and why they work that well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got fired, huh?
Yes, I did. Jefferson took all my women, and now there's nothing in my pants.
And now there's nothing in his pants. So he is Mr. Empty Pants. Prelude.
You have no money and you want me to console you? God, what a woman you are. Well, Al, I have some good news and some bad news.
It's not a good time now, Peg.
I understand. Anyhow, Seven coughed, so I took him to several doctors. Specialists, actually.
Now, if you recall, before he sneezed.
Yes.
Because I was confused. When I first saw this, I was like, is she still talking about what happened in the beginning? I was a little lost, and then I realized, oh, no, wait, she said cough this time.
The good news is he's fine. But the bad news is those specialists were very expensive. But don't worry, honey. I took care of it myself. I just took money out of that envelope that you were going to use for your car insurance.
Damn Dodge!
Gee, honey, that might have been your Dodge.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe I can get my old job back. Unbelievably enough, the position has not been filled. Oh, my God, I'm a shoe salesman again.
Well, honey, if it's any comfort at all, no matter how bad it gets, at least you won't be alone.
Al sneezes, Peg sends him outside, and we get an amazing ending. Just when you think you forgot about the beeline, even though Peg just sort of mentioned it, you still kind of forgot it in a weird way.
Right.
They show outside Kelly, Bud, Al, and Buck with all frost in their hair and heads. I mean, that was just a great way to tie all this together. So let's rate this episode. All right. How many phone numbers are we stuffing down Al's pants? Out of 5 for this episode, Al on the Rocks, Dan.
So, watching this episode, there were many laugh out loud moments, and that was accompanied with this like sense of joy. And I alluded to this earlier, but I was just so happy that we were back on track here. Things got a little out of control for a couple episodes, but everything was brought together so well to the point where, like I said, I laughed out loud probably 6 or 7 times during this episode. And I gotta say, my rating was a 4.5 before, but it's a 5. It's great. It was so much fun going through it and talking about it again and bouncing all the great things that I thought happened and you guys felt the same way. So it really brought it home for me that I not only really liked this episode, but I loved it. So 5 out of 5. 5 numbers down the pants or whatever.
That's a lot of phone numbers you have.
It is, right? 8, 6, 7, 5. 3, 9. From Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah. I'm so glad we went from like 1s and 2s last week to this. Like, ugh. Jamie, how many phone numbers are you stuffing down Al's pants out of 5 for this episode?
Just 1.
What do you mean?
It's mine.
Oh.
Well, how many times are you doing it, though?
See.
5 times.
Whoa,
yes.
nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is a great episode. I laughed a lot. I really love some of these exchanges. They really bounced back after last week. It's like they all like
They
simultaneously hit their heads last week. I don't know what happened, but it was just bad. This is so much better.
Yep.
And it's a sigh of relief. And it probably is to our listeners too, because they probably, I mean, I don't know, like a lot of people probably didn't enjoy the negativity, but I just couldn't, I mean, it was bad. But this is so good.
It
so
was. So good. So good.
I wonder if it's not that they didn't enjoy the negativity so much as maybe they were afraid that this is where the tone of our show will be for the next 2.5 years.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were thinking, this is the beginning of the end.
Right. Like, oh, God, now this is how they're... This is how, like, man, they loved all these episodes, and now what's happening here? I guess we can't blame them, but man. Yeah. But, yeah, no, I'm also doing 5. I felt so good.
Nice.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I love Jefferson, and now going to remember these things. And when I am in the mood for this guy, this is the episode I'm putting in.
I feel like this episode's a must-see.
It is. It really is great. I love the whole premise. I'll even take the B story with 7. All he contributed was sneezing and doctors. I say, goodbye. And that's all I need from you. And then they do that. We got some good jokes out of that. Of course, it was a scary opener, like we said, but I'm not going to take points away for clunky opener. It was actually cool to see that and then see how it just like went straight up from there, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I loved the special guests. I loved Al in this. I loved Peg in this. I loved Marcy. I loved Jefferson.
Yeah. Right?
Everybody. Bud and Kelly, they all killed it.
Absolutely.
It was like they were all like, went to the writers and like, all right, you owe us.
Right, something. Yeah, no, there was definitely a shift, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
There was some conversation like, all right, dude, if you send us back into the Bundy house and this is the stuff the material you give us again, there's going to be a problem.
Right.
They gave Marcy and Jefferson straight fire to play with. And they were the gasoline.
Yes.
Like, wow.
Yep.
Brilliant work from everybody. So, yes, thank God that was fun to do. So,